Hello everyone. As you may recall from our last class, classification is the process of grouping things based on their similarities. We learned how this can be useful in our daily lives, and today we're going to explore why and how scientists classify living things. So, why do we classify organisms? There are millions of organisms currently found on our planet, and many more we haven't yet discovered. Biologists use classification to group and organize living things into one system so organisms are easier to study. The scientific study of how things are classified is called taxonomy. If we want to point out that some of the words used in this system may seem strange because they are from an old language called Latin. At one time, most scientists wrote in Latin, and this tradition continues with classifying and naming organisms. There are 7 levels in the classification system of organisms. As one moves downward from kingdom to species, an increase in similarity between organisms occur. There are fewer numbers of different kinds of organisms. Scientists currently divide all living things into 6 large groups called kingdoms. The 6 kingdoms are bacteria, archaea, protista, plants or plantae, fungi, and Animalia, or animals. Kingdom is the most general grouping of organisms. Organisms within the kingdom category can be divided into smaller and smaller groups. Each kingdom is divided into 2 or more phyla, or phylum for singular. All members of a phylum share one or more important characteristics or structures. For example, the sea star and the salamander are both in the animal kingdom. However, salamanders have a backbone, but sea stars do not. The salamander and other animals with backbones are classified in the same phylum called vertebrates. The sea star and other animals without backbones belong to the other phyla called invertebrates. After the category of phylum, organisms are further divided into levels of organization called classes, orders, families, genus or genera, and species. As you move down the levels, the types of organisms in each level are more and more alike. At the bottom is genus, a group of organisms that share many similar characteristics. A species is the most specific level of classification for an organism. And just so you know, organisms belonging to the same species can mate to produce healthy young that can also reproduce successfully. You can compare the scientific classification system to a system that you might use to classify or explain where you live. For example, information about where you live can be broken down into categories that progress from general, such as the continent where you live, to specific, such as down to the street and house number. This is similar to the way organisms are divided in the scientific classification system. My intention is not for you to memorize these categories, but to understand how the categories are arrived at. However, a good way to remember information like this is to make up a sentence using the first letters in a list. In this case, we want to remember kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So K, F, C, O, F, G, S. One example might be King Philip came over for good spaghetti. Try to make one of your own. Thank you.